Hello everybody, hope you're doing great today. This is Paul from Aquariums and Gardens, and I was a little late in getting to my July garden update, so I'm going to do instead a early August update. So I'll kind of take you around. I actually did do a little video that I'm going to insert here in a few minutes, but that video was from kind of mid-early July, where I did film a little bit out here and kind of explored what I was doing, explained what I'm doing. So I will the entirety of this video is kind of after that, a number of weeks after that, and we'll kind of cover what's going on today with my garden and kind of the progress I'm hoping to achieve. July 10th, this is part of my July update. Sorry if the audio is not great. I'm on my phone here rather than my regular camera. As you can see, as I mentioned in my June update, I was going to top dress it with some Bokashi soil compost mix, which I did. I didn't do a whole lot. I don't want to overwhelm it just yet. I want to see how it does. So I did just put some down. You can see where it's darker spots there. I put it down in this bed, especially these plants over here. You can see how small they are in relation to those plants. And my theory on these, why some are bigger than the others, I mean these plants basically here, these three are pretty similar. I think they're all the same. And then this one and that one right there, they're all the same plant. So the reason I believe that they're different sizes is because when I mixed in the Bokashi, it wasn't mixed in evenly. It was kind of mixed in chunks and kind of just spread out. First I spread down an initial layer, maybe about 5 to 10 bags of soil, then some other amendments like dried alfalfa pellets. So my theory is, I don't have a way to prove it. I'm not going to dig these up, obviously, and I'm going to do a no-till. I do a no-till method with all my garden here, but with these. But my theory is that as these roots grew big, they hit parts of the Bokashi that's been sitting in this bed here for a number of months. So once they hit that Bokashi, there was a lot of nutrients available in there, and that's why you can see, these same 3 plants here. They're the exact same. This one, that one, and that one. They're all the same type. But this little one over here hasn't grown much. Still kind of yellow. Whereas those 3 over there have greened up quite nicely, as well as these. And so that's my theory, is that they found a vein, quote unquote, of Bokashi, so to speak, and as the roots tapped into those, they started growing. So as you can see with the herbs, they're doing pretty well. The mint, we've got a lemon basil and a Thai basil. Actually, the Thai basil and the lemon basil actually started flowering. The tomatoes have been doing pretty well. We've actually harvested a bunch of tomatoes, cherry mainly. You can see the cherries are red over there. They're doing pretty well. Had a couple of tomatoes early on that we pulled that had some blossom rot, and I believe I fixed the problem with that blossom rot, and I think it was just a watering issue. So one thing from my June update, which I did not do or did not have done at the time, was this drip irrigation system. So my watering is more consistent now. I installed this, you can see it runs over here. It actually feeds these 3 beds here, the upper one, this kind of lower one, and this wood bed right here. So it feeds all 3 of those beds. So I'm doing more consistent watering on those, and I think that's helped out the blossom rot issue with those tomatoes. Peppers over here are doing fine. The beans are doing fine too. I do need to take some of these weeds out here. They've kind of grown over a little bit. It's leaving something growing in there is fine. It actually helps the soil. The soil is actually fed by plants, and vice versa. The plants feed the soil feeds the plants through the microbial activity. So having weeds in there helps. Obviously, we don't want them overgrowing and overtaking, so every now and then I will kind of come through and clear some out. I did harvest some garlic. As I mentioned in the prior video, the garlic was kind of overgrown, too close together. So I've just left a lot in place there, and then I'll start, when they start popping up again next year, I'll just thin them out right away. And in this bed, as you see from the interspersed video there I took from July 10th, you can see over here that these plants are actually starting to grow a little better. I did dress them up with Bokashi, so they're no longer yellow. They actually have peppers on it. This one here in the bottom growing, it's green, it's not yellow, which is good. So still could use some work. I think not only the Bokashi helped, but also the drip irrigation system, since they're getting consistently watered. The plants in general are doing pretty well. I've harvested a few of the hot peppers here that you can see down here below. So these ones right here are hot peppers. I've harvested a few off of those. And here's our blackberry plants. This is more like an experiment. Had a recent couple days of rain, so they've actually started to show some growth here as well too. I have harvested a couple peppers off this plant here on the left. They're sweet pepper basically, and a few more coming in, and harvested some. The watermelon plant that I kind of left as an experiment, it's actually starting to show some growth. We'll see if they actually produce any fruit. I'm skeptical at this point. We have pulled off a number of cucumbers. I want to say like 4 or 5. And as I've noted with this bed, it's not the best of beds. Needs a lot of work. I did buy some stone blocks to kind of surround all on the sides over there and kind of raise up this bed and build out the soil a little bit better. Cucumber's been growing pretty well so far, considering the soil, and I think it will produce at least a number of good fruit. Like I said, we've taken about 4 or 5, and you can actually see some are starting to fill in over here. Here's my Bokashi soil factory, which is actually ready to harvest. I can see some, if I look closely, I can see some ant activity, it looks like, in there. I need to take out that soil and put it in the ground over there. What I plan on doing with that Bokashi soil is I've got this other bed here on the corner that are like 3 blueberry plants, 4 blueberry plants. There's a dead one, possibly dead one over there. But they've kind of been, neglected. I need to pay a little more attention to them, so I plan on scraping away, pulling back all this wood mulch, and then just putting down all that Bokashi soil in here to kind of help the overall build the overall soil quality for these plants. So overall, just for a couple beds, we've actually harvested quite a few cherry tomatoes, like I mentioned. I've gotten peppers as well too, hot peppers as well as mild peppers, sweet peppers. Mostly the sweet peppers have been. I've planted more of those, had more of those through the seeding. So they've been growing well. Everything's kind of been growing well. I'd like to get a little more production out of this back garden here. It used to grow great, and it's, as you can see, those plants in the back over there, kind of not performing at the best that they could. And probably what I'll do over the once the frost comes and takes the plants down, I'll just chop the tops off, and then I'll top dress it with Bokashi soil, and hopefully that should improve the fertility of the soil for next year. That's all I have today for my early August update. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Also be great if you would like and subscribe. And again, thank you.